welcome to Not Now in Theaters. This is a retro and cult film podcast, bringing you back to movies we remember and why, or exploring underseen films that could use some more attention. My name is Will Turntail, and I'm a writer and film fan from California. This episode is all about Battle Beyond the Stars. Some of the films on this podcast are outright classics, but this one is that other kind of classic, and not even the cult classic type. I mean classic here in the sense that it gave people of a certain era some good memories. Though that doesn't include me, as I didn't see this movie until just a few years ago. Battle Beyond the Stars is a Roger Corman cash-in on Star Wars. And thanks to reasons that are yet another thing we'll get into, this movie is infamous for putting a genuine pair of boobs on a spaceship. And the guy who put those boobs on that spaceship was all-time filmmaking legend James Cameron. No, I did not make that up. So yeah, this episode isn't going to be a serious movie talk. Okay, let's get into the movie.
Ruthless invaders.
You will accept me as your master.
A defenseless planet. Battle beyond the stars.
After the runaway success of Star Wars, Episode 4 A New Hope put space opera on top of the box office, other filmmakers attempted to cash in on the sci-fi trend. And while I was familiar with poor Star Wars imitations like Star Crash, until now, I had never heard of legendary king of cult filmmaker Roger Corman's attempt, Battle Beyond the Stars. Battle Beyond the Stars rips off the Death Star with its stellar converter, a laser beam that can destroy a planet. It also features the familiar story of a farm boy jetting off to space and his newfound destiny, just like Luke Skywalker. And why borrow from one filmmaking master when you can grab from two? Battle Beyond the Stars has the same premise as the legendary Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. Just moved out to space. And I know what you're thinking here. Yes, Zack Snyder and Netflix's much-maligned Rebel Moon pulls that exact combination. But Roger Corman and his team, the exploitation masters, had already done that Kurosawa and space mashup decades ago. Despite Battle Beyond the Stars having just a $2 million budget, it features special effects by none other than a young James Cameron, and a score from future Academy Award winner James Horner. So with a fun premise and two famous Jameses in the production, could the film overcome its budget limitations? Let's find out. Is Battle Beyond the Stars a good movie? The plot of Battle Beyond the Stars. When the planet Akira is attacked by the evil Malmori, led by Sador, he orders the Akira to submit to him in 7 risings of their red giant sun or be destroyed. Don't worry about why Sador couldn't just say, in 7 days. I think when you're an evil overlord, warlord in space, it sounds much more official to boast about coming back after 7 risings of your red giant sun. Anyhow, being a peaceful farming people, the Akira send young Shad to find mercenaries willing to defend them from Sador in exchange for the meager offer of food and shelter. Shad's quest for help leads him to a space station crewed by androids. In his travels, he encounters mercenaries motivated to join the fight against Sador. When the 7 risings are over, also known as 7 days, the Malmori return. With the help of the brave fighters, Shad and the Akira face off against Sador in a fight for their lives. Will the Akira and the brave heroes defending them defeat Sador or die trying? And walking you through this wonderful cast, Sador is played by John Saxon, as in that John Saxon from Enter the Dragon. Shad is played by Richard Thomas. Robert Vaughn plays Gelt, which is kind of funny because Robert Vaughn is in The Magnificent Seven, which is also a Seven Samurai movie, just moved, to the West. George Papard from The A-Team plays Space Cowboy. Darlene Flugel, Sybil Danning, Sam Jaffe, Jeff Corey, Morgan Woodward, Marta Kristen, Earl Bowen, John Goins, Lynn Carlin, Lawrence Stephen Myers, Laura Cody, Steve Davis, and Julia Duffy fill out the rest of the cast. And a fun fact, yes, the Akira people are named after the legendary Akira Kurosawa. So what's good about Battle Beyond the Stars? Well, we have to start with the film's creative character design, which is worth 3 points. When a film features a small team of do-gooders taking on a flurry of bad guys, its writers often come up with outsized and diverse personalities among the crew to make it fun. This goes back to shows like The A-Team and all the way up to Marvel films like, say, Thunderbolts from last year. Here, that quirky band of heroes 101 formula works well and is the most enjoyable part of the picture. There's some real imagination into these characters' diverse backgrounds. That is, of course, everyone but Shad, the main guy. Shad is the straight man of the group, the Akira kid whose arc is getting tougher or whatever. He doesn't even go Jedi or anything, but that's fine. Anyhow, Shad pilots Nell, an organic, talking android ship. Like Siri with an attitude problem, Nell encourages and helps Shad level up from farm boy to Akira Corsair. And Corsair, what a title, right? I love it. Pressing Shad into battle, loudmouth Nell is the perfect character foil for quiet, reserved Shad. But while Nell's personality is a plus, her design is dodgy. She looks like the USS Enterprise meets a hammerhead shark. And actually that might sound kind of cool, but it doesn't come together the way it seems. It's not fierce like you would expect. Some people, and this includes me, actually think Nell looks like a flying nutsack. When I was watching the movie, I actually kept wondering at why there were giant balls flying through space. And you can see a picture of it with a link at this portion of the transcript, or down the links to this episode section at the bottom. I mean, the balls and breasts, whatever, they're even on the poster. But yeah, in order to impress Roger Corman, James Cameron himself said in an interview he gave the so-called organic ship breasts. So Nell doesn't have testes, she's got breasties. It's more than a bit confusing how a ship with nipples made it into the movie like that, but there it is. The most creative mercenary for me is the all-white Nestor. The Nestor is actually one being separated into 5 bodies, psychologically linked and complete with third eyes. So all of the parts of Nestor work together, talking through their minds. And that gets fun. In one of my favorite scenes, Nestor attempts a clever assassination plot against Sador, which I won't ruin, using the character's mental abilities well. And Nestor balances the group with their thoughtful approach to problems. Saint X-Men the Valkyrie must be the homage to Toshiro Mifune's iconic Seven Samurai character, Kikuchiyo? I don't know how to pronounce that exactly correctly. But he's the jester who really isn't a samurai but attached himself to the group through dedication to the cause. She pilots a nimble dart resembling an arrow. She lives for combat and preaches about the joy of accepting death and living fast. And yeah, she pumps in the excessive cleavage. No doubt a Roger Corman movie felt necessary. The playful Saint X-Men's credibility is undermined by tasteless costume design that sets women in sci-fi back, and probably still is. Yoish. And if you aren't checking the link here to see the picture, she's basically in a one-piece swimsuit with a wardrobe malfunction around the cleavage area, with bones or metal or something like hands, barely holding her girls in place. Came into the Lambda Zone is actually arguably the most interesting along with Nestor. He's a lizard man with a vendetta against Sador. But what's cool about Cayman is that he travels around like a galactic whaler. He destroys strange, gooey, shimmery lifeforms called Zymes that float through free space, digesting people, ships and all. How cool is that? I would never think of space like the sea, though I'm sure other works do, and I love the whole whaler thing. It's altogether this eclectic and colorful bunch of space mercenaries, and genuinely, I absolutely love this mix of quirky characters. And yeah, those colorful characters are exactly what a movie like this needs. Next, we have to talk about Cameron and crew's overachieving special effects, which adds 3 points. According to Wikipedia, when the art director for the film was fired, James Cameron was put in charge of special effects. Cameron apparently worked so hard that he spent many weeks sleepless to finish the job. And it wasn't a wasted effort. Cameron and the crew's work here is spectacular for a stretched budget. Okay, they don't reach the heights of Star Wars, because of course they don't, but the models stand up well to other effects created in the 1980s, having enough character and believability to transport the audience to a fictional battlefield. The interiors of the ships are pretty close to Star Wars, at least in spirit, okay? They have corridors with rich lighting and are littered with familiar control panels and flashing lights. But the standout environment for me was the space station of Dr. Hephaestus, where replacement android parts litter the room as Nanalia, who joins the crew and becomes Shad's love interest, repairs a broken unit. Next, you have to love James Horner's score, which adds 2 points. James Horner's central theme has a triumphant, heroic sound that pumps the audience up for the movie with bravado. It starts out kind of spooky, but it bursts into heroic tones. The rest of the music keeps the drama and excitement moving. This music is said to have shades of Horner's later work, especially Kroll and Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, which actually is later, but not much later. It was only like 2 years later. Anyway, and having all of those on my playlist, yeah, it fits right in a good way. Lastly, it's a battle cry that earns 1 point. Okay, and yeah, this is a spoiler alert, but you're not gonna care, okay? So Cayman of the Lambda Zone, the big lizard space whaler guy, well, he lets out a wail of a battle cry that's worth its weight in gold. It's my favorite little moment of the whole movie. So Cayman decides, fuck it, I hate Sador. I'm just gonna charge him with my ship in a suicide mission. So he bum rushes Sador with his ship, but what's funny is that he simply yells, Latsuli, the name of his people who died at Sador's hands. But he yells it for many, many seconds. Like the movie edits through a couple of different shots, and his Latsuli yell is just still going over the top of the shots. It so cracks me up. I even read a Reddit thread on this movie where somebody said he and his sister saw this movie as kids, and they used to dive bomb each other off their parents' bed or go down slides, yelling this battle cry out. It may not be as funny to you now that I've ruined it, but because for me it came out of nowhere, but I couldn't help but mention it. I wish I could play the audio for you here, but I don't want to get sued. So what's not so good about Battle Beyond the Stars? Well, the first thing is called If We Could Fine-Tune the Story Just a Bit, and it will remove 2 points. Battle Beyond the Stars moves along with little downtime or waste. Its runtime is 1 hour and 45 minutes. As an action movie and not a drama, it's about what you'd expect. And hey, for a low-budget film, cracking over 90 minutes is a feat. I'd have had this thing pegged as the sort of film that dupes you with a movie poster or box art and only lasts maybe 83 minutes with the credits. Still, with 7 side characters to develop, a main character, and a love interest, some elements would have benefited from a little more time to fill out. They're going to be one-note characters each, but I'd still like to hear those notes more, so to speak. And who are the Akira really? And to remind you, that's the people of the planet that villain Sador is attacking, like the villagers of Seven Samurai. Sador attacks planet Akira to open the film. Then most of the movie is out in space. As a result, we only learn about the Akira through exposition. Just a few more minutes of screen time on Akira before Sador's attack could have helped the audience gain more rooting interest in the Akira and help us see Shad's bond with his people. Done quickly, it wouldn't hurt the pacing, but we get just about nothing as it is. And what's Sador's deal? He's got a name that sounds evil, almost like Satan or sadist. Sador! So you know he's the big bad. Sador conquers, and he wants Akira to be his next colony. I'm fine with that simplistic motivation because we see villains like that in our own world, but some more time getting to know Sador and his forces would help the payoff in defeating them. There aren't any scenes or little exposition moments filling out where Sador and co. come from, how they rose to power, what tactics they use, etc. We do learn that Sador keeps patching himself together with harvested parts. So he's kind of a megalomaniac space Frankenstein. Still, let's hang out with the villains, you know? But the biggest annoyance with this movie is that the combat is lacking, which removes 2 points. So the ship-to-ship combat in Battle Beyond the Stars is a complete letdown. It lacks the excitement of a real dogfight. When 2 ships square off, the film cuts back and forth between shots of its pilots looking stern in the cockpit and then flips to a laser blast that's someone's undoing. They seem to fly straight at each other in a direct line, like a game of laser chicken. And then there's the ground fighting. Cowboy, one of the mercenaries, leads the Akira against Sador's forces, but seems like he's got no tactical game. He's like, come on, let's go, and they run out and win or die. Meanwhile, lasers fly everywhere, yet somehow miss their targets just 10 feet away. Which maybe they borrowed from Star Wars, haha. The budget has to come into play here, but couldn't some creative workarounds have been done so we get some actual tension? So adding it all up, Battle Beyond the Stars gets 5 points. That feels a bit lower than the amount of freewheeling joy this movie gave me, but that's how the math shakes out, I guess, in terms of real cinematic value. On my scale of let's not watch, should I watch, or go watch this movie, I'm going to award it my should I watch rating. Look, I like this movie. Battle Beyond the Stars is silly fun that comes across as self-aware. If you're a fan of 80s sci-fi and or campy feel-good adventures, you'll enjoy this film's character designs and go-for-it tone. Corny as the movie is, it's got heart and some fun bits. Fans of James Cameron could enjoy seeing a movie that significantly pushed his career forward, and you can listen to the legendary James Horner's music as he was finding his prolific and Academy Award-winning feat. But it's a film where a ship has boobs on it, and another character's breasts are threatening to wardrobe malfunction at any moment. The combat isn't so hot, and some of the world building and characterization is mailed in. So if you're a retro sci-fi fan who wants to pop a bucket of popcorn and sip a cold drink while you relax, give it a chance and you may find some joy here. It's a great film for when everything on your watch list feels too challenging and you just want to power down your brain. In fact, this whole movie is free right now on the Shout Studios YouTube page. So if you do want to see it, there you go. Okay, that's everything I have to say about Battle Beyond the Stars. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode, would you please post a review or rating on this podcast if you haven't done that already? It makes a massive difference for me, and I would appreciate it. Or if you're listening on YouTube, bump that like button and subscribe. New episodes of this podcast usually come out weekly. I'm hopeful that next week's episode will be William Friedkin's Sorcerer. It's a movie that actually got overlooked on release because it came out a month or so after Star Wars, but is now considered one of Friedkin's best works. Lots of famous directors rate this movie, and I was so excited to finally sit down to see it. So yeah, it's about the complete opposite of a movie like Battle Beyond the Stars. Sorcerer is about people driving trucks full of explosive dynamite and trying not to explode as they go through hellish jungle, wobbly bridges, and other hazards on the road. It's going to be a heavy episode though, so hopefully it is done in time and I don't have to put out something easier for you instead. So join me next week for an episode I think will be about Sorcerer. This podcast episode is a production copyright of Overegged Media LLC, located in Sacramento, California. Reference photos linked in the transcript are copyrighted by the Internet Movie Database. This review's factual information was gathered through online sources like Wikipedia, IMDb, or interviews. Misrepresentations and errors are possible, but unintentional. The introduction music was Neon Laser Horizon by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. And the exit music and additional music, those are of course also by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. The names of those tracks are Voxel Revolution and Adventure in Adventureland. They are licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. See you next time.